Greetings and salutations. Welcome to episode 202 of the Zeeie Show. With me today, of course, myself, Mr. Zeeie, and the cat Pandora, somewhere in the background. May make an appearance sometime during this episode. I think I will probably hit on a new topic or subject or whatnot each episode, and then I think I'll do 10 per season, as it were, and then maybe on the last one or two, if there's some things that seemed a little bit more interesting than the rest, or anything I want to get back on, anything that you may like to share in the comments that you would like to get back on. I may do a recap. But this time, we'll be taking a brief look at this book, which my father had rebound. I will read to you what he wrote. This is a one-volume encyclopedia bought by my mother, Rose Zeffro, during the 1930s when we lived at 300 Rochelle Street, Knoxville, Pittsburgh, PA. I've loved and enjoyed this book all of my life. I hope my grandchildren will preserve it and enjoy it. William T. Zeffro Sr., February 1st, 1988. Here's a picture of the New York Public Library. Needless to say, back in the day, here's what the title page looks like. And I thought that it would be humorous to see what they were saying back then and what we know today of the changes. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to go here. I was going to try to do random. Let's see. Languages of all nations, English language, America's contribution to the English language, aid to spelling, how to punctuate sentences, when to use capital letters, words frequently mispronounced, wrong forms of speech and writing, exact use of synonymous words, their shades of meaning, distinguished and illustrated forms of literary expression, structure of sentences, paragraphs, letter writing, abbreviations, and contractions, words, phrases, and quotations from classical and foreign languages. Let's see, here's some pictures from that page, or the opposite page. I was hoping to immediately run across this should be good. Let's go to book, here we are, 11. Skimming through history of government, family, and patriarchal forms. The earliest known form of government, which has come down from prehistoric times, is the family or social unit. The Semitic family is patriarchal and polygamous. The Aryan family is monogamic. Aryan family, this is interesting. because I don't remember in my lifetime them ever referring to the Aryans in a way such as this. I only remember hearing what a effect, which I tend to agree with that was, but back in these old times, we didn't always have everything figured out as far as how to make things palatable to the public as they do these days. In the Aryan family, such as was to be found in India, the family lived separately and possessed rights. The great idea was reverence of ancestors. Every home had a sacred fire, fed by certain kinds of wood, and never allowed to go out. This burned to the ancestors. This burned to the ancestors, represented by agony, just as in later days it burned to Vesta in Rome. Burned is obviously a word that I'm not familiar with in this context. See, the ancestral dead were buried near the home and reverenced as they are today in China. A woman on marriage left her home for the gods, her ancestors, and assumed the gods, the ancestors, and the home of her husband. The daughter was not equal to the son, for upon him devolved the sacred duties of continuing the line and of keeping up the ever-burning fire. There's some obvious differences in how they met women and men and how they see them today. On democracy, growth of democracy has meant the admission of the people to a larger share in administering the affairs of the country. It does not specify any particular form of government, but there may be a larger share of voice in public affairs allowed to the subjects in a constitutional monarchy than in a republic. And even under absolute monarchy and despotism, there are occasions when the popular voice is unmistakably heard. I think that's pretty much proof to be a crock. The democratic form of government was seen in Athens, where it reached a high stage of development in the way of free institutions and individual growth. Solon's reforms from 594 BC onward were the beginnings of democracy, which were furthered by Pisistratus, Cleisthenes, and some other fancy names. The struggles in Rome during its early period between the patricians or aristocrats and the plebeians or democrats marked the steady advance of democratic ideas and the recognition of the people in affairs of state. Okay, we know what democracy has become today, which I think even where it was first originated in Athens, I believe it is correct in saying that they knew even then that financial interest would rise to the forefront, and that it would not so much be a true representative republic. Although that's actually, I think, what we're supposed to be, and what democracy is kind of a bastardization of. But today it's pretty much seems to be all socialism under many different names. But let's look over here and see what they had to say about feudalism. This form of government really gave shape to society during the greater part of the Middle Ages. After the Romans lost the world power and the Germans invaded the neighboring countries, feudal government gradually appeared and endured until modern times in some form or another. Growth and the decline of feudal institutions were each gradual processes, and they did not appear instantly nor disappear suddenly. Very early in the feudal development, it became customary for men of low rank and slight power to associate themselves with powerful men. The association was called commendation, and was performed by an oath of fealty and service. The subordinate was then a vassal and a man. The superior was a suzerain, or lord. The ceremony was known as homage and fealty. This subordination became general and often involved everyone in a community. even kings becoming vassals of more powerful kings and suzerains. It's like the third element that kind of comes into creative projects sometimes. The things that you don't plan. Sometimes I feel like I'm just, if I can put the first one or two parts of something together, then the muse kicks in. Certainly not on every music video I make, but some of them I'm quite proud of. The Black Sabbath Zeitgeist, I think, is probably one of my best, and I really like the one I did recently. It's on Vimeo, putting the Hotel California Gypsy Kings to the Stanley Kubrick movie Eyes Wide Shut. He's one of my favorite directors, needless to say, probably neck and neck with David Lynch. I really like David Lynch, but even for me, some of his stuff is just a little bit. It's like some of it just goes on and on. Like if you've ever tried to watch Inland Empire, I believe it's like 3 hours, and I never got through the whole thing. I might try again one time. He really likes that one lady who was the Susan's mother in Seinfeld. I don't recall her name, but she was in Twin Peaks, and she's also in Inland Empire, and I believe some of his other work. I've probably seen hypocritical at times in the sense that I want to kind of unplug myself from the matrix as much as possible, but at the same time, I spent so much of my life enjoying some of these different musicians and actors that even though it seems like anybody who's ever had a hit TV show or been successful in music has another part of the agenda that they are working for. I don't need to be the dead horse. I try not to mention this every time, but I really can't recommend the website WellAware1.com enough, because it's information I never saw or heard anywhere else. I do remember, before I found out about that site, watching John McCain one time on stage, and there was something about the way he laughed that struck me as, it made me start thinking, that's somebody else, that's not him. It wasn't like how when John McCain, when he ever grins or if he laughs, that's not what it was. And I had another, I guess you could say, flash forward, back around 1988 or 89. I was watching some daytime TV, and Henry Winkler was being interviewed about something, and it appeared to me that he was either slightly unprepared or they had caught him a little bit off guard, because he didn't have on, he wasn't wearing the normal Henry Winkler face that you think of. There was something way off about his eyebrows, like they hadn't been fixed or glued on or whatever it is they usually do. It was just a very strange looking appearance in this